at Azaan's default splash art. Nico, take us away.
That's right. I'm going to break it down. Well, Azaan did not hurt when he fell from heaven. He is too tough for that. Azaan the Eternal, one of the oldest Pyre Lords. Now, his whole deal, right, is that he represents the Pyre. He's been around for so long, and the Pyre's thing is that the Abyss cannot get the realm. Now, there is a distinction between the Abyss and the darkness being Yalgaroth and what she represents. So, the Abyss is now creeping into the realm, thanks Corvus, and Azaan is not having that. So it is at the point where he can't take that anymore. He is coming down and saying, look, realm, collective realm, if you don't get your stuff together, I'm going to take care of this darkness worm for a minute. If you don't get your stuff together, you're not going to like what happens. So, because I can't let the Abyss have the realm. And if a couple orphans happen to die along the way, then that's the price we have to pay. And it's not, it's not quite so drastic. And it's like not going to go out of his way to kill some orphans. You know what I'm saying? But this man has the power, and he will not let the Abyss have the realm. And if you are in his way, then you will find out what that means.
It's harsh.
Very ominous.
Salvation comes at a cost.
Absolutely.
Be ready to be absolved.
So we are gonna see the Eternal in game. Let's go take a look. Now everyone is pretty stoked that this is a frontline, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I can give the let me do the quick rundown.
Yeah.
Real
Give us
fast.
the breakdown.
And to be clear, that lore that I just spouted is not actually what I wrote in game. You can go in game. We can get like the more official rundown. That was my TLDR lore time with Nico. So. You want more something more concrete, just to go ahead and look in game. So we have Azaan. He is a front line. His health is sitting at 4,500 at base. We'll start by talking about his passive first. He does have a passive called Ire. You can see a bar on the left side of his ability bar screen there. Ire is built on taking or dealing damage. Over the course of 0 to 100% Ire, you gain a passive benefit of 0 to 20%, I believe, right now, damage reduction. So 20% damage reduction at 100% Ire, and 0% damage reduction at 0% Ire. While you are above 85% Ire, the bar will change, and you will gain a passive 12% right now damage increase. Something to keep in mind, using a basic ability above the Ire threshold will augment that ability, giving it additional benefits. And then using any of your basic abilities, which are any abilities that are not his ultimate, consumes Ire, even if you are below the threshold. So if you're sitting at 20% Ire and something costs 20% to use, you can still use it even if you don't have 20%, but regardless, it will take that 20% even if it's not above the threshold. So we can show off a little bit, taking damage, building that Ire. Guess he's got to reload real quick. We see he's now above the threshold. That provides him that damage boost, and if he were to use ability above that threshold, he gets that augment. We can go right into his weapon. His in-hand is called Judgment. We have a throwing hammer. Not going to throw my hammer. He can throw his hammers.
Yeah.
Throw your hammer in an attack chain. Yeah, it is indeed hammer time. I know. I rent this place. I can't do damage to it. Throw your hammer in an attack chain of medium, heavy. 540 damage on medium hits and 660 on heavy hits. This thing is chunky and has a fantastic VFX. Thank you, Roland, as always. Even leaving that impact on the ground. Very, very cool. The benefits of being over the threshold for Judgment, your in-hand, are that there becomes an area of effect on landing while throwing hammers above threshold. You can see here as Submerge Strixus, our cameraman, showing off that AoE burst. Moving on to our second ability, we have Reckoning. The alt fire. After a brief windup, we send out a projectile that creates a targeter that opens up into a larger area. Enemies hit by this right click this reckoning will. Oh, poor Fernando, stuck in limbo forever.
He does not want to be here.
Yeah, does not want to be here. The right click will lift enemies up and deal damage to them. Look at that. That will travel along the ground. Can be used in the air if necessary. And we can show off the lift. There we go. The target you see on the ground is where it hits. So if you do not, if you use it too close and don't hit that Fernando and the targeter, then you're not going to get that damage and lift. This is a lift similar to Bounce House rather than a knock up, by the way. And then the above threshold thing for Reckoning is the cooldown is reduced. The base cooldown is reduced from, I think it's by 3 or 4 seconds. So if you want to spam this, you'll want to make sure that you are over threshold before you use your Reckoning. Moving on to our next ability, we have Sanctuary. Shout out to Kingdom Hearts for that song title.
Yeah,
Sanctuary creates a series.
That's what I thought of.
It wasn't intentional when I named it, but I realized that, and then I started listening to Simple and Clean all day. It was terrible. Well, I was going to say it's terrible, but I loved it all day on repeat. Anyway, Sanctuary creates a series of 5 wall segments in a semicircle around your target, or your targeter, each with their own health pool. And we can show that off briefly.
Yeah, you might.
I'm not in here with you. You're in here with me.
You might have seen Thunderbrush posting the concept for that.
So this is cool because it is a different flavor of wall. So this is a wall, not a shield. So it is not going to be wreckerized, but instead. And then, so each segment has its own health pool. Each one can die independently. And the cool thing is, and we'll talk about this with the next ability, there is an interaction with his next ability and the wall. The threshold for the threshold benefit for using this ability above the threshold is there is a health multiplier on each segment of the wall. I believe at base it's 25% increase in base health if you use Sanctuary above the IR threshold. Moving on to our next ability, we have Conviction. Azaan dashes forward, carrying up to one enemy. Well, up to one, 0 or 1 if you miss, I suppose. Carrying up to one enemy with you. This is not limited to the ground. You can indeed dash straight up if you so desire. And if you happen to slam the enemy into collision, they will feel the pain. You see our cameraman showing off that verticality. So the cool thing is, so there's some extra damage and extra stun, right? Poor Cassie bot again stuck in a bad place. It's okay. Ziggs can help her out. The cool thing is there is a damage and stun associated with hello Ojo. With the Conviction, and then if you slam an enemy into your own walls, you gain. Or rather, they take a longer duration stun and more extra damage. So we see a little bit of a combo starting to form here. Right click, or wall, right click, hammer, dash, all that good stuff. Fernando once more put into the limbo of his life. I believe the stun at base without any augmentation is 1 second or less, and then against your own walls is, I think, closer to 2. Obviously, numbers change during PTS, but that's the general idea. This ability is used faster if used above the IR threshold. So if it's used above the IR threshold, rather than taking the base amount of time to travel from point A to point B, it takes whatever reduced. I think it was 70% time for it to happen. There you go. Faster. Got to go fast. And now we can take a look at Deliverance, our ultimate ability. Now, something to keep in mind, some of our animations are still in progress, so the final animation for the last second of the ult will be a little bit janky, but that should be fixed in PTS pretty shortly. We're going to go ahead and rise up into the air for up to 6 seconds, reducing the damage you take for that duration. While in the air, you can fire at the ground to throw your hammer, dealing significant damage and slight knockback. On landing, you deal less damage and significant knockback to provide that 1-2 punch. We're going to see here. Cassie's don't know what's coming to him. So you see there that last second and a half, the animation is still being worked on. No problem. You'll see it in PTS. The cool thing about this is the contribution of the damage you do with your ultimate to your ire is doubled. So if you have no ire, there are 5 enemies on the point, and you need to get in there right now. You will be ready to go when you land nearly to or above the threshold. And that, I believe, covers... Oh, there's no... And then there is no direct ire threshold benefit for the ultimate. Those are only for the basic abilities. And I believe that covers the base Azaan kit. Did I miss anything? Fish? Rose?
I don't think so, but I really love like getting to show off these abilities, especially the ult. I think this is a new kind of ultimate for us to have, you know, in Paladins right now. Look at that good boy right there. That's a good boy.
Yeah, I don't think you missed anything either. But having playtested him, I feel like the kit's very satisfying. He's got the defensiveness with the walls. He's got the ability to engage with his dash if he needs to hit, touch the point in time. He's got some utility for the combo with that knock-up, and the ultimate, the ability to like go help out your team or disrupt the enemy. Very strong. Those weapon attacks, like there's a bit of a cadence to them, but if you hit them, they feel it. So pretty happy with this.
We gotta end the year, with the real banger, and this champion is absolutely a great one for the end of the year. But yeah, before we finalize, the rest of Azaan and go into some of the skins here, let's have you go over just real quick, Fish, some of the talents that Azaan has.
Yeah, 3 talents, 3 twists on his gameplay that you can lean into. The first of them is Persistence. Persistence is a sustain type talent with no real trade-off, just a benefit. If you're landing your basic attacks, your Judgment, then you're going to get reduced. You're going to damage reduction that stacks or that is separate from the passive, and then you're going to have lifesteal with subsequent hits. With Tempering, you're going to kind of trade off less frequent uses of your abilities for higher impact on those. Your alternate fires can do a little bit more damage, your walls are going to last a little longer, and then your dash is going to travel further and stun longer if you take an enemy with you in exchange for the cooldown increase. For Eternal, you're kind of interacting with the passive differently, where you don't have to be constantly hitting and being hit to keep it high. And so you're able to get more of those ire threshold benefits from your abilities, and you're going to be able to keep that damage resistance for longer. However, you lose the damage increase for that. So a little bit more of a defensive choice, trading the offense to allow you to go ire and ire with the passive.
To new heights.
Ire
sure he's
kinda like that.
on top of his game. Am I right?
So yeah, let's hear some voice lines before we get into these skins. Though we gotta hear the man, the myth, the Pyre Lord talk to us, speak to us, Azaan.
Pyre! I am beyond praise! I am the Pyre! Yes! Attack! Ultimate is down! Stay here!